Stephen A., do you see him being the top wide receiver in the league this year?
No.
He's focused, man.
No, I do not. No, I do not. Now, I do understand. I want to make sure I preface my comments. I recognize who they got at quarterback. I do recognize that Brandon Marshall provides assistance. Sterling Shepard, God bless him. Thank God he didn't have a season-ending injury in training camp. I mean, they're going to be there. Offensive line is suspect.
Tight end that can fly down the middle of the field.
That's right. Unfortunately, offensive line suspect. Running game suspect, and the combination of those things, along with the other requisite weapons that they have to throw the football to, even though Odell Beckham Jr. is an absolute stud, I don't think that he's going to be as successful numbers-wise this year as, people believe, because I think that a lot of teams are going to key on him and dare the others to beat you because they don't want his electrifying self to get loose. I still look at Julio Jones as the freak of nature that he is. I put him as my number one nod, just like I've got Atlanta as the number one team in the NFC. That's the way I view it, Max.
Julio Jones is the best wideout in football because when not only it's him and Odell and Antonio Brown in that uppermost echelon, and maybe A.J. Green, Mike Evans, maybe just a half step below them, but when it matters most, Julio Jones, who's bigger, who's athletic like Odell, but also bigger, he catches the football. And when it mattered most so far in his career, Odell dropped the football several times. You cannot come up small in the biggest leverage, highest leverage moments of your career and be considered the best. However, this is not past, unless you think past is prologue, unless you think it's just destined to repeat itself. We're talking about looking forward. Do I think Odell will be the best wideout? And every year I think he'll be the best wideout because there is a difference in terms of the physical talent. Odell Beckham Jr. can throw a football left-handed, he's right-handed, 50 yards. Like, why does that matter? He can kick field goals. Why does that matter? Because he is just athletically gifted, not only in terms of how fast he can run or high he can jump, but how dexterous he is, his balance, everything is different than everybody else, and that includes Julio Jones, and that includes Antonio Brown. The wide receiver eras, the transcendent talents at the position have been Jerry Rice, a lot of good receivers in that era. It's Jerry Rice's. Then it was Randy Moss. T.O., a lot of guys are really good, but Randy Moss was just different. Then it was Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson was just different than the others. And now it is Odell Beckham Jr. Now, what does he have to do to make it his? And for you, me, everyone to give it up and say, okay,
because you're all over the place. I mean, which one is it?
This
is sounded like you agree with me for 1 second.
He has to catch passes in the playoffs. Why doesn't he? Because there's another player in sports right now that does the same thing. He chokes under pressure. He's a much lesser version of himself under pressure. That guy's Clayton Kershaw in baseball. Dodgers would have won a couple World Series already if Clayton Kershaw was just himself under pressure.
Way to work it in.
That's it. That is Odell Beckham
that's
Jr.
Blasphemy. That's
Wait a minute.
blasphemy.
Hold on, I'm developing a thesis.
Go ahead.
Hurry up.
So that's Odell Beckham Jr. And what do Clayton Kershaw and Odell Beckham Jr. have in common? You talk to guys around the league, ask them about Antonio Brown, why he can ball under pressure. He don't care. He'll do that thing on Facebook Live. He does not care. Odell cares too much. Like Clayton Kershaw, he cares more than anyone else, which is why he's better than everyone else, but in the moment of truth is wound a little tight. If he can get that under control, he's the best in the business.
Beline the tan that you have when you're in the streets of Southern California. The fact of the matter is, you know that being exposed to that sunshine a bit too excessively can drain you sometimes. I think that plays a role in Kershaw. This is a dude that's one of the best ever, and this dude, no matter what kind of record they have, and I know he's on the deal now, but no matter what kind of record they've had, and no matter how secure they've been, they still put him on the hill for more than 7+ innings.
They did that with Koufax and Valenzuela, too. They did fine.
Stop it. And then you wonder why the dude is tired come postseason. Don't you disrespect Clayton Kershaw. You watch your tongue.
Stop choking in the postseason. Same thing with Odell. I love those guys, but it is what it is.
He's not Bumgarner, but you be disrespectful.
Why isn't he Bumgarner? He's better than him every other time.
We're talking about football.
Excuse me.
But that's the same thing with Odell. Odell's better than everyone all the time, except for when it matters.
I told you I'm talking. Then I just listened to you and your dissertation. You listen up. You just watch your tongue when it comes to Kershaw. Now back to Odell Beckham Jr. I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. He needs to do something in the playoffs before we give him recognition. Then why the hell are we giving it to him now? You don't get to sit up there and say, oh, he's the best. But he got to produce
He's
it.
going to be more focused
Can you read this? Can you read this?
He's not going to be distracted. He's ready to go.
I'm not talking about the question.
Do you see him being the top wide receiver?
So that's looking
forward.
forward.
Let me finish. I understand where you're coming from. I'm talking about the dissertation that you gave off. What I'm saying to you is this: Julio Jones is the best. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the fact of the matter is what you hope Odell Beckham Jr. will do, Julio has done. And oh, by the way, Julio Jones last year, do you know that he had 53 less receptions last year than he did the previous year?
Balled in the playoffs,
and he still balled. And still had a 1,400. Still had a 1,400-yard season. Still had 83 receptions. Still balled throughout the postseason. Okay, he had a guy. He went up against a guy one day. I mean, one day the dude's a starting quarterback. After going up against Julio Jones, the next week the dude was out the league. This is what Julio Jones has done to people. So all I'm trying to say is this: Julio Jones is a stud. He's done it.
Let me make another analogy, not to baseball then. I'll do another sport to try to explain this.
Go ahead, please.
Who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world?
The best pound for pound?
Right now.
Andre Ward.
Andre Ward. Correct. We both agree.
All right.
If I asked you, do you see Lomachenko being the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, what would you say?
I would tell you.
Oh.
I would tell you. No.
Oh, stop it.
Tell Andre.
You are lying to the American public. That's what you want to say.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, okay. You're the worst liar ever.
Julio Jones.
Until I see Andre Ward go down.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. We're not talking about last year,
this is my point. Julio Jones is Andre Ward. He has proven it under pressure. He's proven it under pressure. Odell is Lomachenko. Odell, you're asking me what I predict.
Yeah.
Do I think he will continually choke in the biggest moments? No, I do not.
Neither do I.
He cares, if anything, too much. He has to get that under control a little bit. Now that he has experience in the playoffs, I believe he will. He hasn't proven it yet.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, do I think he will?
He learned
the answer
from
is
last
yes,
year.
I do.
I believe he learned from last year.